22422 is the SMS line and the hashtag is Newsnight. Now, Council of Governors Chairperson Wycliff Oparanya is warning that operations of basic services at the counties will grind to a halt because none of the counties have received the monthly November disbursement of 31.6 billion Kenya shillings, which was due on the 15th of November 2019. We have the Governor who is live for us from Kisumu County. Thank you, Governor, for making time for us. And also here in studio to talk a little bit about the politics and law around what's happening in some of the counties, our former Governor William Kabogo together with Advocate Charles Kanjama. Now, gentlemen, I'll be talking to you shortly, but let me immediately take our viewers to Kisumu County to speak with the chairperson of the Council of Governors. Chairperson, you issued a statement yesterday talking about lack of funds at the counties, or basically the delay in disbursement of funds to the counties. Have you received any response from Treasury so far on the same?
I have not received any response from the Treasury, but I'm in touch with the Controller of Budget, who has told me that she's also in touch with the acting CS of Treasury to see if this money can flow to the counties. As I talk now, no county has received any money for the whole month of November. We started this year very well. There has been a frequent flow of funds. But I'm told now this issue of pending bills is now becoming an issue to stop funds to flow to counties.
But we know that pending bills...
This is quite unfortunate.
Chairperson, pending bills does not touch on every county, not all the 47. Do you believe that is the real reason for the delay?
You know, I'm told that is the reason. That's what I'm being told, that that's the reason. I've tried to get in touch with the CS, Treasury, but unfortunately I've not been successful. However, I intend to travel to Nairobi to see if I can meet him in person tomorrow so that this issue can be resolved.
Okay, it seems that surely there must be simpler ways to do this, and we can talk a bit about that later on. But on your part, there have been concerns that as a Council of Governors, you have not paid proper sort of attention to county accountability. You have not taken the open governance platform requirements as seriously as many would have hoped you would do so. Have you fully convinced Kenyans that they should back you as you make some of the statements you're making tonight?
Obviously, as counties, as established under the law, under the Constitution, we are accountable. We are supposed to be accountable. And there are institutions which are there to ensure that counties are accountable.
Okay.
There is the Office of the Auditor General. There is the Office of the Controller of Budget, that ensures that the funds that are budgeted for are properly used.
Let me be a bit more...
So if there is no accountability in any county, then that can be dealt with case-to-case basis.
In fact, I want to be a bit more specific. Apart from maybe Makueni County, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, who, as of yesterday, began a process of publicly publishing tenders that they have given out to the tune of about 900 million. We haven't seen other counties following suit. Those are the kind of examples I'm talking about, Chairperson, that Kenyans would hope to see.
But the law is very clear that if there is any tender, there is a process that you have to follow. If you don't follow that process, then obviously law will deal with you. But if you want to go extra mile, as Makueni is doing, then that's acceptable. And others can learn from that.
Okay. And speaking of counties being accountable, we know at the moment there are several counties that are, in a sense, in limbo. Earlier this year, when we saw Governor Waititu being arrested, we saw your body issuing some very stern statements. You spoke about governors being treated with decorum in case of future arrest. You spoke about the embarrassment that was targeting county chiefs. But recently, when we saw Governor Sonko being arrested, your message was a lot more measured. You spoke about the uniqueness of Nairobi and called for an emergency summit with the president. Has that happened? And why are we seemingly seeing a different tone from you when it comes to the arrest of the Nairobi governor?
No, there was no different tone. What I am very clear of as the chairman of the Council of Governors, that we are not hearing any governor on corrupt cases. We are not hearing any governor. But as yesterday, we issued a statement saying Nairobi is unique in that it doesn't have a deputy governor. So in the case of the absence of the governor, then the county is in a big limbo because there is no leadership. In such a case, how do we deal with it? And that's why we were seeking the audience with the president so that we can discuss with that particular issue to see how we can deal with Nairobi because of its uniqueness that there is no deputy governor in place. Otherwise, if there was a deputy governor, then the deputy governor will take over or act in case the governor is not there.
Okay. Tell me this. There have been claims by some leaders and some Kenyans and leaders even of the caliber of Senate Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen that the war on corruption has been weaponized to neutralize those who are not politically correct. Do you agree or have any thoughts about such views?
I will not comment on that because maybe when he talked about that, he had a particular reference or he had particular people in mind. Otherwise, what I know, we support that counties should be accountable. And if any wrongdoing is done by any governor, we are free to go to court, to be taken to court, so that we are able to defend ourselves. If we are innocent, we are set free. If we are not, we are ready to be jailed. But this issue of accountability should not be taken as a general issue. It should be treated case by case basis. As governors, I can tell you as Council of Governors, we are committed to fighting corruption, and we are together with the president in fighting corruption. None of the governors have been found guilty, but the cases are going on. But we are saying that we are accountable. Institutions are there to ensure that as governors, as county government, we are accountable. You have
said, and rightly so, that none of the governors have been found guilty, but the cases are going on. So as the COG, what are your recommendations? And I want to ask you this before I talk to my guests here in studio, about sort of the way forward when you look at Kiambu, Samburu, and even Nairobi, although Nairobi you did say is an extreme case, where there seems to be a measure of confusion over who really is in charge, you know, where governors can't access offices, for example. What are your thoughts as the chair of the COG on what we are seeing?
I can tell you that it was unfortunate that the courts decided that the governors who are affected step aside. This has caused a lot of confusion in those particular counties that are concerned. Service delivery has been affected. It is unfortunate that one person who is suspected to have caused a problem, many other wananchi are affected.
But how do you carry out?
This is unfortunate. I think this issue, we have raised it. We have even gone to court. That is not proper for an elected official to step aside until that particular person is proved guilty.
But, Governor,
when it's proved guilty, then the law will take its course.
There have been concerns that the evidence...
And we have said this clearly.
Governor, there have been concerns that the evidence is in those offices. So even though, and you say rightly so...
I can't hear you properly.
Let me repeat the question. There have been concerns that governors are in the offices where investigations are happening, and they could interfere with them. How do you respond to that?
You see, governors are not accounting officers. I don't know if you will go to any governor's office and find that records or any transaction records are filed in the governor's office. There's nothing of the sort. They are accounting officers. We have chief officers who are accounting officers. And this is clear in law. Governors are not accounting officers. So I do not see a governor being in the office, how he will interfere with the investigation. Because he's not accounting officer. A governor does not sign any document. I have to see any governor who will say that I've signed this document.
Okay, thank you so much.
This document is being used against me.
Thank you so much.
But if I have said clearly, I've said clearly that if there is any governor that has done something wrong, is corrupt, we are not defending such a governor.
Okay.
The law must take its course. We are fighting corruption. We are supporting the president on the fight of corruption in this country.
Okay, thank you so much, Chair. Maybe if we have time at the end of the interview, I might get one final word from you. Although there are those who say that governors have a lot of influence. They might not sign those accounting documents, but they do have a lot of influence. Let me also bring in my guests who are here with me in studio, former Governor of Kiambu County, William Kabogo, and Advocate Charles Kanjama. Honorable Kabogo, let me start with you. Let me get a quick reaction from you. You've heard what the Chair of the Council of Governors has had to say. Your thoughts, one, has corruption been used as a weapon in this political system that we live in? But secondly, your thoughts on governors stepping aside?
Thank you. On the issue of whether governors or whether the issue of corruption is being used as a weapon is a very hard question to answer.
You don't want to give it a yes or no attempt?
I imagine that Murkomen, being the leader of government business in the Senate, should have gone to the Senate and used the privilege of the floor and say why he thinks so. Because really, we know that there are 4 or 5 governors in court. Governor Ojamong is there, Governor Sonko is there now, Governor Waititu is there, Governor of, I'm not sure what other county.
Samburu?
Samburu, yes. I'm not saying they're guilty. In our laws, you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. So really, I imagine those guys are innocent. It is the courts that will prove them otherwise. So really, to discuss a matter that is before court, even for us here, is a matter that is subjudice. Probably Wakili will speak on that. Many then, and we can pick up from where you left off. But my question was, when you talk about the issue of stepping aside, it's a tricky matter, yes, that the county may not get the necessary services, but it's also tricky in the fact that the chief himself is a governor, and everything else is done within the county. So, for example, if some of the governor's aides are witnesses, how will the governor operate when witnesses are right below his nose?
Working for him effectively.
There may be certain circumstances that may allow governors to work as they deal with cases. But we should be telling the judiciary, if really the DPP has enough evidence, why don't we hear these cases on a daily basis? And if you have 15 witnesses, you have 3 or 4 days, and a judgment is arrived at in 3 or 4, justice delayed is justice denied. It's justice denied.
Tell me this, I still call you governor. What is at stake in your view in the absence of a governor for a county like Nairobi? Because you sat in that seat, what do you see as the biggest challenge for Nairobi County?
One, the apex authority of the county is the committee of CECs, the governor and the deputy governor. So in the absence of the deputy governor and the governor, then it means that that committee cannot do what it's supposed to do. Now, when you have a case where there is no governor and there is no deputy, the law is very clear that the speaker would take up the job of the governor for 60 days and then elections will be held. But remember that the governor is there, only that he stepped aside. So really that would be a constitutional limbo or crisis, so to speak, because how will the county operate without a governor, without a deputy governor, and then and the person in charge of oversighting the executive is a speaker. So if the speaker runs for 6 days, what happens thereafter? So really, probably what they need to do is ask Governor Sonko, as it is now, to appoint a deputy.
To appoint a deputy.
And if you cannot appoint a deputy, then a commission will be set.
Let me allow Advocate Kanjama to also weigh in on the same. What options do you foresee for Nairobi County going forward in case, Sonko is back in court tomorrow, in case he has to step aside or is denied bail?
I think the first thing is to note that it is the court to determine the conditions of bail for Governor Sonko, because that application has been made. So it's not for Nairobi County to look for options. The court has to look for options that are consistent with the Constitution. In the case of the governor of Kiambu, Waititu, and Governor Lenol Kulal of Samburu County, there was Article 179(5) of the Constitution, which provides that in the absence of a governor, a deputy governor shall act. And that is the provision that was relied upon to tell the governor to keep away from office. So I think it is going to be up to the magistrate to now decide tomorrow, if the magistrate is convinced to grant bail, what reasonable conditions to set. And of course, knowing that if you do not have a governor who is the apex authority of the county, then the executive authority of the county is compromised. It is true that the county executive committee is the one that is vested with the executive power of the county, but the Constitution and the County Governments Act are also quite clear that the county executive committee members answer to the governor or the deputy, and therefore theirs is a delegated executive power. So if there is nobody for them to answer to, I think that will result in some form of constitutional crisis. It's not clear what would be done by the county assembly or the CEC in the absence of the governor.
In terms of gaps in the Constitution that some legal minds have said will need to be looked at moving forward, what do you see as the most worrying ones?
I think
especially with what we've seen in some of these counties now.
I think there was an advisory opinion that was done by the Supreme Court on the question of what do you do in the absence of a deputy county governor? Because the Constitution has been silent on that issue, and the Supreme Court judges interpreted the Constitution as providing the governor with the authority to appoint a new deputy governor. This was not made mandatory, so it is at the option of the governor, and Governor Sonko chose not to appoint a deputy. So unless you have another advisory opinion to the Supreme Court or a case to the High Court.
And we have had discussions that could be one way, yes?
Yes, then that could be done. But in terms of what the legal experts are saying, I've had some of my colleagues say that the County Executive Committee could appoint one of their members to act in the absence of the governor. That is an issue that has not yet been tested. I've heard some saying that the county speaker, county assembly speaker could act, but that one would clearly contravene Article 182 of the Constitution, which only allows the county assembly speaker to act for 60 days and only if the governor has been removed from office, either by being convicted or by being impeached, pending a fresh election of a new governor. So those are some of the options that people are talking about. Advocate,
I'll ask you to hold it right there because we are due for a break. When we come back, I'll still get some final thoughts from you on this same topic. You're watching Newsnight. I can imagine there's a lot of feedback that we're getting. 22422 is our SMS line. The hashtag is Newsnight. I'll take a look at your feedback also on the other side of the break. We carry on with this discussion on the other side of